I'm Hugh. I'm going to talk to you today about a couple of my cues. I have a Predator Revo that I've been playing with for 3.5, 4 years now. And I also have a new cue that I just got here about 2+ weeks ago. It is the McDermott with a Defy shaft. So both of these are carbon fiber shafts, and I'm going to be doing a little bit of a comparison between the two. This is the shaft I use for most of my pool playing. It's just got the Sneaky Pete butt on it. It's the Revo 12.5mm shaft. It's a 29-inch shaft, and it came with their Victory tip. It's a little harder tip, not hard like phenolic or anything, but it's definitely a pretty hard tip, and which is a little harder than what I was used to playing with before this. But I used to play with a G-core that had a soft tip, a McDermott G-core with a soft tip. But, so this took a little bit of getting used to. I'd never used a carbon fiber shaft before I did the Revo. Took a little retraining as far as how things reacted. And then, as I said, I've had this for about 2 weeks now. This is the McDermott September Cue of the Month, if you're curious. So it's got the semi-customized butt, linen wrapped, and it's also a 12.5mm shaft. I got the Alpha Pro soft, which is actually a little harder than my McDermott, the one that was on my McDermott that was soft. I would call this more, actually a little closer to a medium, but they classify it as a soft. But the other thing that I want to point out on these is that if you look at the Defy here, you'll notice is a couple inches longer. I got the 31-inch shaft. The Revo is 29-inch. I did that because I'm kind of a tall guy, and I was interested in getting a little longer shaft. Interesting experiment. I've seen this demonstrated before, so I was really curious about it when I got it. I haven't seen it between the Revo and the Defy, but it appears to do about the same. So the Defy is over here on my left, and the Revo is on the right. If you look at them as you drop, note that the Revo seems to bounce. The Defy just has kind of a dead stop. There must be some kind of a dampering, a damper in there or something. I don't know what they do, but it definitely has a little bit different reaction to it. So I'll be cutting in and out probably a little bit with the video to splice some of the stuff that I put together for it to do some comparisons with these. One thing I wanted to make sure I said right up front is I'm not getting paid for any of this. These are both my cues. Predator is not paying me. McDermott is not paying me for anything, so this is just strictly my observations on it. I'm not actually here to recommend one over the other. I just wanted to give some information. There's not a lot of information out there on the Defy, really, so I thought I'd add to the collection based on my observations. I play pool weekly in APA. I'm ranked about 4 or 5 in 8-ball. Been playing for, I don't know, 6 years or more. Play every week and enjoy it. So I'm not any real expert on anything, but my opinion might not count. But I'll offer up what I have and let you go from there. Pin over here by the dot here, so you can kind of see what we got. So that's right in the center dot. And we'll go through. We'll start with the. This is the Revo. And I've been playing with Revo for about 3 years, so it's pretty good. Basically, I'm just trying to get to that dot and get right back down the center. A lot of this has the stroke. I really don't determine that there's going to be a lot of difference between these. I doubt seriously there will, but we'll see what happens, and I'll tell you a little bit about the way I feel on what's going on here. So that comes back pretty darn good. But I've been playing, as I said, I've been playing with this quite a bit, and I'll do that a couple times just to get an idea how I'm feeling with it. Not too bad. I'm not the best at that, but that's not bad. One thing that I have noticed right off the bat, just in very beginning with this, is that the Defy, the feel of the Defy, the contact with the ball, is different. You know, I showed you the drop, and it does have a different feel in the contact. It's hard to explain. Let me get this. If I'm talking, I won't get it right. Notice that? That's coming right back through. So as I said, they were going to be probably pretty darn close, but it's what I can tell you. Look at that. It just comes right back. It's great. So with that, the control and the tips and what have you, but I have to say, as I said, I'm just starting with it. I'll know more when I get through it, but I like the feel of the Defy. I like the feel of the contact with the balls. Not that I don't like the Revo, but it's a different feel. You feel with the Revo that you've got you can feel the contact, you kind of feel the feedback with it. One thing I've noticed with this is you don't have that same feedback. And I'm not saying feedback's actually good or bad. It depends on what you're wanting, but you kind of feel the contact with the ball that you've got something pretty solid. This, you don't feel the contact with the ball, but it definitely, you can tell that that doesn't mean that it's not pushing transferring energy. It does a nice job of it, and it really, it actually, the follow through with it and what have you feels very natural. So with that, I've been very pleasantly surprised. Okay. I'll be splicing in a couple of things that I do with it. I've had the Defy for a couple of weeks now, so I've been playing with it a little bit, and I kind of did some testing out, which I'll splice in some of the videos to show you that. Nothing too major. I thought there's a couple observations just real quick that I have found between the two that are very interesting. I've heard people talk about carbon fibers, the carbon fiber shafts having some, feedback because they're a pretty solid shaft. And I sort of get that now. I don't want to call it a ring, but there definitely is some feedback with it. And when you make your shot ever so slightly, I wouldn't honestly even say I notice it too much. You do have you know, you can kind of feel the impact on it. Where with the Defy, oddly enough, when you do the same thing, you don't get the same feedback with it. And I guess you could either say that's good or bad. The way I would describe the Defy after using it is it's a quieter, and I don't mean sound-wise, I mean feel-wise. It has a quieter feel to it when you're striking it, and I actually kind of like that myself. But again, it would be personal preference on what you kind of like. So here is the main comparison that I did with these as far as playability, because it's all about the playability of some of these. And sweetie, right, come here, that's a good girl. Yeah. So what I did was I play 8-ball sometimes with myself as one of the things to do on my table. And so what I decided to do is I would play 8-ball where each side of the 8-ball game is an opposing shaft. So you break, and you pick one of the cues to start. It starts, it solidifies solid for the rank while it's going to play for the solids the whole time. Anyway, you get the idea. I'm going to play them against each other. So this is, here's the rules. I've got a counter down here. And basically what I did was I started and I said, I'm going to play 100 games. And I'm going to count over here. On this side, I'm going to count the Predator Revo. And on this side, I'm going to count the McDermott Defy. So, and I've got a little patch here that basically just slides over every game. And so whatever side that's on is the side I'm going to break. So when I'm over here, I go ahead and set up and I break. Put my break stick away. And since I broke on this side, the Revo, the Predator Revo would be the cue I'd start with, and then alternate innings with the alternate between them and see which one wins. So whoever whichever one won the match, I'll chalk it up on this side. So Revo over here and McDermott over here, or vice versa. But I'll keep it consistent to where one side is the same all the time. Normally out of 100, I'm probably going to get a couple 8-on breaks. If I do that, I'll just re-rack. I'm not going to spot the ball or anything. I'll just re-rack. I figure any balls made or any scratches over 100 games, it'll probably even out. So that was the plan. Okay, well, here we go. Another rack here. Oh, I used just give you all the information on what I use. I use the Kamui, I think it's 0.95 chalk. I've been using that since before I got the Revo, so I've been using it. It's expensive, but honestly, I haven't been through but just a few cubes of it anyway, so it's not like you use very much. And it's good chalk, I like it. Alright, so now the patch is on the other side, so to get first dibs after the break. This is a pretty nice open thing. It looks like I've got a lot of open stuff here. I think I like the solids a little better, and so I'm gonna try and go for the solids, but I'm not here to talk strategy. And the Defy, I mean, it's just really is, you know, for being something that I just started with. I like the response of it. I like the feel of it. It's been it really. Oh, I didn't quite like that one enough. Oh, and I got myself around. Now, one thing about this, I've got to give this just a little massage around there because, well, I guess I could just go for the 3, and if I hit it, well, no big deal. But normally speaking, with the harder tip on the Revo, I can't do that. So let's see how this does with a massage around it a little bit. I can't quite get around the 3, and I'm just trying to get to the 2. So let's see. Now, whoo, that was a little more than I wanted. But, oh, hey, I got around it, hit the 2 where I wanted it. Maybe not the best shot in the world, but hey, I don't always think things through totally. So now it's the Revo's turn. And I was trying to get my trap balls out first. Gee, I want to put that on the other end, or do I want to keep things down here? I think I want to keep stuff down here, so. Well, and I don't know what to do with 14, oh well. I might be able to make it. Ooh, it's skinny. Yep, no. Oh well. Alright. So that was the plan. And I did that. And surprisingly, so when I did that, the McDermott actually won that competition. It was it won 55 out of the 100, and the Revo I won 45 out of the 100. Very honestly, there's some things I'm very used to the Revo. I know how it reacts. I know a lot of the things it does. I was still learning the McDermott, so there were I don't know. Even though the McDermott won on a long-term playing field, I think the McDermott was kind of a disadvantage in that it was, you know, I'm not as used to the cube as it was. So that's how it turned out. The Defy, the McDermott Defy won 55 to 45 out of that. So I say that, and I had it a couple weeks. I played with the Defy in my league for a couple weeks and did really well with it. I was very pleased with the way it performed. But I decided that, you know, after playing with it a couple weeks, it might be better to try this again. So I set up the exact same thing, except the only difference here is I reversed the sides. I got to thinking, it's like, well, maybe I break better from one side. Maybe I'm giving that cue a disadvantage or something. So I decided to switch it off. I think I break pretty evenly on either side, but thought, well, I'll try and make it fair and even. And so I did the same thing a couple weeks later after I'd had some more time with the Defy. Actually, it ended up being the exact same. I won 55 games with the Defy, and I won 45 games with the Revo. What does this mean? I don't know. I'm not sure that that's enough games to be statistically valid or really of any consequence. Couple of things I want to say again is that, you know, there are differences in these two other than they're just both carbon fiber. This has a little longer shaft. I'm a long, you know, I've got long arms. So some of the longer shots, I think I was dealing a little bit better because it had the longer shaft. So, heck, the Revo with a longer shaft, who knows, it might have been. It's got a little softer tip. Did that have something to do with it? Maybe so, I don't know. It's got a wrap here. Who knows, maybe I do better with a wrap. I don't know. One thing I wanted to show you, I did notice this that I thought was kind of interesting. And I'm going to try and show this if I can. Actually, I'm going to try and do it this way so the camera can see. So if I kind of find the balance point on these two shafts here, just sort of the balance, if I just kind of balance it out. And I put the balance points over each other best I can. Notice that the butt of the shafts being at the exact same point. Look at that, the butts on the balance points are about the same. And so, which means that the balance point on the McDermott is just a little farther back from the actual center of the shaft, even if it's longer. Which I found very interesting, and I think it actually makes it a nicer point. These are both, just so you know, 18-ounce shafts. Those are, you know, they're both equal shafts there. I do believe that the McDermott shaft is a little nicer balanced, but you know, it's the butt and everything is a little bit nicer balanced. But you know, this is obviously a more expensive butt than what the Sneaky Pete is. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it as well. But it was a very interesting comparison. I'm not getting rid of my Predator. And it would be up to you guys to, you know, kind of decide what you want to do. But I definitely would, if I was out looking, I would definitely look at both the Revo and the Defy. Find some place where you can test out the Defy a little bit, see if you like it as well. And I'll, as I said, I'll be splicing in some other stuff in the video to show you. But that's, I just kind of wanted to share with you what I'd found with that, and it's kind of interesting. Thanks.